So you walk into a courtroom expecting a legal battle over facts and fairness, but instead, you're hit with a case so absurd, so off the wall, it feels like something out of a comedy sketch. What if I told you that real people have actually sued for emotional damages from a broken heart, claimed their coffee was too hot to handle, or even argued that they were the victims in a robbery they committed? Yes, you heard that right. These bizarre court cases actually happened. Today, we're diving into the top 10 most outrageous lawsuits that defy logic and common sense. From frivolous to downright hilarious, you won't believe what has made its way into the legal system. Let's count down the wildest, most jaw-dropping cases that will make you question, is this real life, or did I just step into an alternate universe? Number 10. The McDonald's hot coffee case. In one of the most infamous lawsuits in history, an elderly woman named Stella Liebeck sued McDonald's after she spilled a cup of coffee in her lap, suffering third-degree burns. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, it wasn't. The bizarre part isn't the coffee spill itself. After all, accidents happen, but the fallout from the case. Stella Liebeck initially sought only $20,000 to cover her medical expenses, but McDonald's offered her just $800. When she went to court, the jury awarded her a staggering $2.7 million in damages. While the settlement was later reduced, the case sparked a massive public debate. Was it a case of an irresponsible corporation or a clear-cut example of personal responsibility gone too far? The question of whether too hot coffee could be grounds for a lawsuit had people everywhere scratching their heads. In the end, McDonald's did not pay the full $2.7 million. The case was settled out of court, but it ignited a nationwide conversation about what constitutes a frivolous lawsuit and who should bear the responsibility when accidents happen. McDonald's also faced increased scrutiny over the temperature at which it served its coffee. Though the case remains a prime example of the clash between corporate power and individual rights, it's also a reminder of just how far people can go in the pursuit of justice or compensation. Number 9. The Suing for a Broken Heart case. In 1997, a man named Dwayne S. Smith made headlines by suing his ex-wife, Patricia A. Smith, for emotional distress after she left him for another man. But this wasn't your ordinary divorce case. Dwayne wasn't just asking for a split of the assets. No, he was seeking a legal remedy for what he claimed was the emotional devastation caused by his wife's infidelity. He demanded compensation for the broken heart he endured. The bizarre part? The very idea that someone could sue for a broken heart. In legal terms, emotional distress is often tied to serious physical injury or negligence. But in this case, Smith was asking the courts to assign a value to something as intangible as his heartbreak. The case raised eyebrows across the country, with people debating whether or not a broken heart was actually worthy of legal action. In the end, the court tossed out Dwayne's case, saying there was no legal basis for emotional damages caused by a breakup. But that didn't stop the case from becoming a symbol of the extremes some people might go to in the name of justice, or perhaps in the pursuit of attention. It remains a classic example of a lawsuit that left both legal experts and the public scratching their heads. Number 8. The stealing of a dog case. In 2012, a man named David B. David was the one suing his neighbor Robert L. Miller for allegedly stealing his dog, a golden retriever named Rex. Why, you ask? Because Rex had decided that his backyard was just a little too boring and wandered over to Robert's place. In what could only be described as a canine misadventure, David claimed that Robert refused to return the dog and had stolen Rex. Yes, apparently, some people take dog ownership very seriously. First of all, let's just pause here. Stealing a dog? It's not like Rex was caught sneaking into a jewelry store or making off with a briefcase full of cash. Nope. He simply wandered into the wrong yard and suddenly it was a full-blown court case. The bizarre part was not just the fact that anyone thought it was a crime to borrow a dog for a few hours, but the ridiculousness of involving the legal system in a battle of doggy drama. Was Rex really stolen, or was he just indulging in some unsupervised backyard exploration? The case naturally was dismissed, because apparently even in the world of weird lawsuits, you can't really sue someone for borrowing your dog. Rex, however, made it out okay and was eventually returned to his rightful owner. The courts, too, probably had to find their own way to recover from the epic confusion over whether or not dogs have property rights in the eyes of the law. But hey, if there's one thing this case proved, it's that even dogs can be involved in absurd legal drama. Who knew that pet custody was such a heated issue in the legal world? Number 7. The squatters' rights case. In 2007, Ellen D. Jones, yes, that's the name we'll be using here for full dramatic effect, decided to make a bold legal move. She filed a lawsuit to claim ownership of a house she had been living in for over 10 years, and get this, without the property owner's consent. How did she end up there? Well, Ellen apparently had been squatting in this house for a decade, quietly setting up shop, making it her own. For 10 years, she lived there rent-free. So what's her big legal move? You guessed it, squatters' rights. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I'm fairly certain that squatting in a house without permission doesn't automatically turn you into the legal owner. But apparently, Ellen thought she could turn the whole situation into a full-on real estate scam with a lawsuit. And here's the kicker, squatters' rights, a legal principle where if someone occupies a property long enough, they can sometimes claim ownership, but only in certain circumstances, and maybe if you're just a little bit crazy. This case blew people's minds because Ellen wasn't trying to pay rent or buy the house. No, she was claiming it just because she lived there long enough. The nerve, right? And what happened, you ask? The court actually sided with Ellen. That's right. She won. Squatting your way into a house for 10 years? Apparently, that's a fast track to homeownership in some crazy parallel universe where logic has taken a vacation. She was awarded the property, much to the outrage of homeowners everywhere who realized that maybe, just maybe, their houses weren't as secure as they thought. So a warning to all, if you leave your house unattended long enough, someone might just take a claim on it and call it their property after a few years. Welcome to the weird, wild world of squatters' rights. Number 6, the bank robber's lawsuit. In 2003, one very ambitious bank robber named Terry D. Williams decided he was going to add another twist to his criminal career. After being arrested for robbing a bank in broad daylight, Terry didn't just sit back and let his fate play out like most criminals. Oh no! Terry decided to sue the police for false imprisonment because, wait for it, he was apparently unlawfully detained while they, arrested him for robbing the bank. Yeah, Terry, because breaking the law totally gives you a free pass to file lawsuits. This is where the sass comes in. A bank robber suing the police for false imprisonment? Really? Talk about chutzpah. Terry was claiming that the cops had no right to arrest him since, in his mind, his legal troubles were clearly the result of unjust detainment. I mean, Terry, you literally robbed a bank. What exactly were you expecting? An apology and a medal for your creative approach to finances. The audacity was on full display, and honestly, it's almost impressive. The man had a lot of nerve to believe that a robbery entitles you to a lawsuit. Surprise, surprise, Terry's lawsuit was thrown out of court. Who could have guessed? It's almost like you can't sue the cops for arresting you when you're caught, in the act of committing a crime. But honestly, Terry's attempt to sue could have been an early contender for a new category of legal comedy. Maybe next time, Terry, stick to your day job, just not the robbing banks part. Number 5, the haunted house lawsuit. In 1991, Jack and Laura McDonald bought their dream home, a charming, picturesque house in a quiet neighborhood. But what they didn't bargain for, a full-on haunting. According to the couple, their new home was filled with eerie noises, ghostly apparitions, and mysterious cold spots. Spoiler alert, it wasn't on the real estate listing. So what did they do? They sued their real estate agent for not disclosing the house's paranormal past. Yes, you read that correctly. These homeowners wanted legal compensation for their ghostly tenants. Now let's take a moment to unpack this. Suing over ghosts? You can't exactly put a haunted stamp on a house, can you? This wasn't an old mansion with a creepy backstory. This was a modern-day middle-class home. Apparently, Jack and Laura didn't appreciate their otherworldly roommates who decided to make their presence known at 3 a.m. every night. And while real estate agents must disclose certain issues, ghosts don't exactly have to be on the list of property defects. It's like buying a used car and suing the seller for bad vibes. Naturally, the court wasn't having any of it. The case was dismissed, but it did spark some spirited debates about the intersection of law and the paranormal. I mean, what's next? Lawsuits for houses that come with bad feng shui? If you're going to buy a house, you might want to preemptively ask if it's haunted. Just a suggestion. In the end, the McDonald's learned that not every spooky noise can be solved with a court order. Sometimes it's just a creaky floorboard. Number 4, the $1 million cookie lawsuit. In 2002, a woman named Jessica S. Schmidt found herself in a delicious dilemma. After purchasing a cookie from a well-known cookie company, she took a bite and discovered something unthinkable, an unauthorized ingredient. What was it? A piece of plastic hiding among the chocolate chips. She filed a lawsuit for $1 million. Yep, $1 million for a cookie mishap. Who knew cookies could be so expensive? Here's the kicker. It wasn't like Jessica suffered a life-threatening injury. The piece of plastic, while unpleasant, didn't exactly leave her with permanent damage. She didn't even choke on it. But the audacity to ask for $1 million over a cookie mistake? It's like suing your mom for burning dinner and asking for a new house. The bizarre part wasn't just the outrageous price tag. It was the sheer scale of the lawsuit. Who thinks, you know what? This cookie cost me $5, but I'm going to ask for $1 million each? That's next level thinking, my friends. The case was eventually settled, but Jessica got nowhere near the $1 million she demanded. The cookie company didn't exactly hand her a fortune, but they did compensate her for her inconvenience. And so a cookie catastrophe turned into a legal spectacle. Just imagine the company's legal team shaking their heads thinking, did we really just get sued for plastic in a cookie? But hey, if you're ever in a cookie-related crisis, now there's always a chance to cash in just maybe not $1 million worth. Number 3, the Invisible Man lawsuit. In 2006, a man named Raymond B. Curtis came up with an out-of-this-world legal strategy. He sued the government, and not for the usual reasons like, wrongful imprisonment or defamation. No, Raymond's lawsuit was because he believed he was invisible. Yes, you read that correctly. This man was claiming that he was invisible and that the government was harassing him because of it, as if his invisibility was the real problem. I mean, is anyone even really surprised at this point? Okay, let's take a moment here. Invisible? Now, I'm not saying Raymond didn't have his own unique sense of personal identity, but the fact that he thought a court of law would entertain this claim, well, it's a level of confidence I can only aspire to. Imagine sitting in a courtroom while a judge listens to you claim you're hard to see, and that the government is just totally out to get you because of it. Who does that? Raymond's lawsuit was like the most dramatic episode of The Twilight Zone ever. Spoiler alert. The court didn't buy Raymond's invisibility claims, much to the disappointment of anyone hoping to see him pop up in a courtroom drama. The case was dismissed quicker than Raymond could presumably disappear. But here's the fun part. His attempt at suing the government made waves across the media. People couldn't stop laughing or wondering if they, too, might secretly be invisible. It's safe to say that Raymond's legal career ended here. But hey, we all have our invisible moments, don't we? Maybe next time Raymond should just blend in because apparently that's what he's really good at. Number 2, the ban on fun lawsuit. In 2004, a group of children decided that the best way to deal with their school taking away their recess time was to take the school to court. That's right, these kids, led by their fearless and possibly slightly mischievous leader Billy No Recess Johnson, filed a lawsuit claiming their right to play outside had been violated by the school's decision to cut recess. How dare they? Let's just pause for a second and think about this. Kids suing because they couldn't play on the swings? I mean, if this doesn't sound like a legal adventure straight out of a comic book, I don't know what does. What next? A lawsuit for being forced to eat vegetables? Or suing for not enough screen time? These kids were apparently done with the whole being sent to detention for misbehaving thing. You can't stop us from playing, we're going to sue. This is peak watch me take on the system energy. In a turn of events that shocked absolutely no one, the case was tossed out faster than a dodgeball at recess. Shocking. The judge made it very clear that maybe, just maybe, lawsuits over lost playtime weren't exactly within the legal jurisdiction of the courts. In the end, the kids didn't get their recess back, but they did manage to provide the world with a whole new perspective on how far a kid will go to avoid doing math. Recess might have been banned, but the real fun came when the case was dismissed and the kids went back to being kids. And let's be honest, I think the school learned more about the power of playground politics than anything else. Number 1, the suing for a pizza case. In 2002, a man named John Pido, no really, that was his name, decided he had had enough. What could possibly cause someone to sue a pizzeria, you ask? Well, John was apparently outraged that his pizza didn't come with the right toppings. And by outraged, I mean he sued the pizzeria for a whopping $100,000 because his pizza had a mushroom instead of his beloved pepperoni. Yes, you heard that correctly. He went from hungry to litigious over a slice of pizza. Let's take a moment to truly digest this. We're talking about a man who thought that having one wrong topping on his pizza was worth a small fortune in damages. I mean, who hurt you, John? It wasn't like the pizza had, say, poisonous mushrooms or moldy cheese. It was a simple wrong topping. Yet here he was, filing a lawsuit for a sum large enough to buy an entire restaurant's worth of pizza for life. The audacity! How far can you stretch your hunger-induced disappointment before it turns into, I'm going to sue for $1 million? As you probably guessed, the court tossed the case out quicker than John could say extra cheese. There was no way that anyone was giving him $100,000 for the trauma caused by a pizza topping. But John did something important here. He gave us the gift of the most ridiculously over-the-top lawsuit ever. And you can bet every pizzeria in town now double-checks their orders. John may not have won, but he did earn a lasting place in history as the man who tried to sue for a pizza topping. Maybe next time, John, you'll get the right pizza and an extra side of common sense. Well, folks, that's a wrap on our countdown of the top 10 bizarre court cases that actually happened. From suing for the wrong pizza topping to claiming a house just because you've lived there long enough. Honestly, at this point, I'm starting to wonder if we should just sue the legal system for putting up with this nonsense. But hey, what do I know? I'm just here enjoying the chaos like the rest of you. Who needs law and order when we've got this level of courtroom entertainment? Okay, now it's your turn. Which one of these cases made you go, what the actual heck? Was it the man trying to get rich over a pizza topping? Or the squatter who became a homeowner without even asking for a mortgage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I know you've got opinions. And if you love this roller coaster of ridiculousness, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to hear about more legal drama that'll make you wonder if this planet's gone completely bonkers. See you in the next absurd one.